I'm going to show you how to weave the weft. I've already set up the warp, so now we're going to turn our loom so that the warp is running horizontally, and we'll pick up the yarn that we want to use as our weft. The weft is also sometimes called woof. We're going to weave our weft again with 2 strands held together, and we'll start by making a slip knot. Once again, leaving a nice long tail. Now we just put the slip knot on the first peg on the opposite side of the loom, and we pull it tight. So we pick up our weaving tool, and we start by going over the first 4 strands of yarn, under the next 4 strands of yarn, over. We just keep working the same way all the way across the loom. And you want to make sure that you're catching all 4 yarns as you go along. Sometimes it's easy to drop one and only pick up 3. So you just want to double check as you go along. Now that we're all the way to the opposite side of the loom, we're just going to grab our 2 yarns here that we tied on with a slip knot with our weaving tool, the hook, and we're going to pull them underneath all of the yarns that we've held up now. And as we go through, we want to make sure that the warp is staying flat. They're not twisting. And we also want to make sure that the yarn that we're pulling through, the weft, is all lying flat and isn't getting tangled up. And then once we've pulled it through, we hook it onto our first peg. We pull our yarn here on the opposite side so that it's nice and tight. Now we're going to use the opposite side of the weaving tool to scoot the strands over and make sure they're all close together, sitting nicely. And we're ready to start weaving our second row. Once again, we take our weaving tool and we place it between the pegs on the side of the loom that's closest to us. But this time, we're going to go under the first 4 strands, over the next 4 strands. So it's the opposite movement we were doing before. And we just keep working this way until we get to the end of the loom. Once again, you're going to grab the strands with the hook of the weaving tool. As we're pulling through this second row of strands, we're creating almost a checkerboard effect. Once we get to the opposite end of the loom, we just wrap the strands around the next peg, grab the strands, pull them tight, and using the opposite end of our weaving tool, scoot them over so they're sitting next to our first row of strands. Now that we've established the pattern, we keep working this way across the loom until we get to the last peg. Now that we've finished weaving our weft, we just take our scissors, cut the strands, and it's really just as easy as that.